Is it your contention that the Michigan alternate electors were not self-described as alternate electors? They held press conferences. Everybody said these are alternate electors.
Trump White House vet Stephen Miller speaking with us moments ago. Jason Johnson, MSNBC political analyst, is back with us. Jason, we just concluded that interview. He is a current Trump campaign surrogate. He served all 4 years in the White House. I think people understand he's both controversial and relevant. I'm curious what stood out to you.
Lots of lies, Ari. The first thing where he said that Trump knew nothing about Project 2025. 6 former cabinet secretaries of the Trump administration wrote on Project 2025, 2 of his former ambassadors. It is absolute nonsense to say that his campaign knows nothing about it and won't implement it. The second thing he talked about was immigration. Stephen Miller has no interest in a comprehensive immigration program. We know that because of his history. We know that because his primary philosophy is to limit the number, not of educated people, not of class, not of any sort of background. He wants to limit the number of non-white people who come into the country. That is his basic philosophy. The other lie that he told is about the 2020 election. He believes that the 2020 election was stolen. We have that on record. He talks about it consistently. The idea of alternative electors as just some civic duty as opposed to a way to distract people, we know that's a lie as well. Everything he said was untrue, and he just got louder when he got caught.
You mentioned 2025, which has gotten a lot of scrutiny. Politically, what does it tell you that both Trump and Miller are walking away from it? Again, as I've mentioned, we put up to his face his group's link, his own interview. He says, okay, I was in a room with the book. I'm not into the book. People can assess that, as you said. But what does it tell you that they're running away from this vaunted conservative project?
Well, Ari, what you see is Republicans running away from a lot of their own policies. First, he says that they want nothing to do with Project 2025, despite the number of people from Trump world who wrote it. He also claimed that Trump doesn't want a national abortion ban, yet he picked J.D. Vance, who said in 2022 he wants a national abortion ban, despite the fact that many Republicans have said they want a national abortion ban. So it's part of an overall set of lying, whether it's Project 2025, abortion, immigration, or the economy. Stephen Miller doesn't want to be honest about what Stephen Miller believes in because they know the majority of the public doesn't agree with it and won't vote for it.
There are some Trump officials who, either because they got in enough trouble or for whatever reasons, have walked away from the Jan 6 and coup planks. Again, I've told people it's important to hear all of this, but I understand if you'd rather watch something else. Free country. But this is the first time I've had Mr. Miller on to discuss his Jan 6 role, which is now years ago. What did it tell you that in that instance he seemed to get really emphatic and would not disclaim doing this again, which is something Rachel and others have been reporting on, whether they have a 2.0 plan with a little more experience on what is, according to many courts, an election crime?
Stephen Miller believes that any democracy that is pluralistic, meaning any democracy that allows non-white, non-Christian people to participate in, is not a legitimate democracy. And therefore, any Democrat who gets elected by a coalition that includes anybody who's not white and Christian is not legitimate. And therefore, in his mind, anything you have to do to stop that kind of pluralistic democracy is okay. So he has no problem with January 6th. He has no problem with doing the same thing in 2025. The future that Stephen Miller wants is in the instance where Kamala Harris and Tim Walz end up winning in this election. They want us to look like England. They want massive riots throughout the country attacking black and brown people because he doesn't believe that any election that does not put Trump back into office is legitimate. And they've made that clear for years.
Yeah, I think you raised several important points. And again, this is the first time I've ever had Mr. Miller on, so we had some catching up to do on various issues relating from his role on January 6th, which we documented, to the campaign and policy issues. I think I want to underscore one of the points you just made as well, Jason, which is people need to understand you have to make sense of this and get the facts to then understand what the potential issues are. And the issues go beyond whether there's a policy debate. When you have people who, and I want to be accurate, he did mention that he condemns the violence, but he did not take the opportunity to disclaim rerunning this playbook. And they have learned over time, and they've installed people in certain local places. And that's also a part of the election that we're both covering and monitoring in a very real sense. On more than one topic tonight, Professor Johnson, thanks for being here.
Anytime, Ari.
Appreciate it.